Across the Spider-Verse is directed by Joaquim dos Santos, Kemp and Justin K. Thompson, and is the continuation of the story from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which was released in 2018. So it furthers the story of Miles Morales and his place in all these parallel universes, which hold all these different types of Spider-Man in them. It's a continuation of his relationship with Gwen Stacy, who is also Spider-Girl. It also continues the relationship between his family, his mother and his father. And this is going to be a spoiler-heavy review because it's really almost impossible to talk about this movie without them. So I guess I'll just go into the main plot details of this movie. So this movie is quite a bit darker than the first movie. It's definitely a kind of more a more serious take compared to the first one, which was still very comical and silly and wacky. This one's a lot more grounded in a lot of ways. It's more about basically Miles not coming to terms with his own destiny, which he rebels against in this movie. Everybody's telling him that he was not meant to be Spider-Man, that Peter Parker in his reality was supposed to be Spider-Man, but because he got bit by the spider, Peter Parker is now dead. So that's basically the main story. So the cast return, and I think are even better in this movie than they were in the previous one. Shameik, Hailee Steinfeld and Oscar Isaac do put out some really good vocal performances in this movie, possibly more so than they did in the first one. Hailee Steinfeld is great as Gwen Stacy, and Oscar Isaac makes a really good villain, who is a new villain that was not in the previous film. There's a lot of different Spider characters in this movie, and I really do think a lot of them are original. I cannot think of anywhere in the comics where these characters were pulled out of, because either they are very obscure or they are original, which is what I think they are. So I think I really need to talk about the animation in this movie, because the animation was absolutely incredible. It was even better than the one in 2018. Now, I already thought that the style of animation in the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie was absolutely revolutionary to making a comic book movie actually look like a comic book. It was a major step up from anything that preceded it. There have been several comic book movies like Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight, that people are saying, oh, it looks just like a comic book. It really isn't. It's shot sort of in a comic book way, but this was the first real movie that made it actually look like a comic book in motion. I mean, like the backgrounds had like those little dots that you see in comic books. It was very it was kind of jagged and a bit unhinged at times, but I kind of liked it like that. Now the animation in this movie is a lot more chaotic than the first movie. There's a lot more stuff going on. There's constant glitches and breakaways. There's a mix of 2D and 3D. It's very unpredictable, and it's also very emotional, very expressive, so I did like a lot of that from the animation in this movie. But since this is a spoiler review, I'm not really going to do a regular review for this movie. It's just too difficult. I'm going to talk about what basically went down in this movie. So basically the movie is about Miles Morales coming to terms that he was never meant to be Spider-Man in the first place, that he is an anomaly, that he was a mistake, he was a hiccup in the great scheme of things and fate. It toys with fate and destiny, and it ultimately centers around Miles Morales breaking free from any shackles that anything that destiny or fate could have thrown at him. He's his own person, he has his own choices, he's not going to follow the preordained path of destiny that every other character in this movie is trying to defend. He breaks free of it, and because of that he becomes the true Spider-Man. Something about this movie that did kind of piss me off though is that Miles Morales still has not revealed to his family that he is Spider-Man. I've kind of been waiting for it to happen, and I wanted it to happen in this movie. I wanted to see how his family truly reacted to it, whether they would embrace him or whether they would like disown him, whether they hate him, whether they love him more. But you don't get that. You almost get it in a scene where he does show to his family he's Spider-Man, but he's in the wrong dimension, where Spider-Man never existed, so it means nothing. And the biggest spoiler of this movie, of course, is that it ends on a cliffhanger. I knew something was up because this movie is quite a bit longer than the first movie, and I was saying this is going on for too long. Like when's the resolution going to come? When's it going to end? And but it just goes on, and then it just freezes, and it says to be continued, and everybody in the theater was like, "Oh, not really, what?" And I was part of that. I was included, and I mean, I'm not mad. It is pretty daring that they left a story like this on a cliffhanger for a third installment that will come out in probably a couple more years. And the third movie is called Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. So I was kind of guessing whether it was going to be above the Spider-Verse, through the Spider-Verse, outside of the Spider-Verse, but no, it's called Beyond the Spider-Verse. So I think Sony Pictures Animation have probably been working on that film kind of almost at the same time as this film. So it's not going to take too long for the third film to come out. Like when they made the third one, they had to make sure whether it was a success before they started working on the sequel, and it was a huge success. It's one of the best comic book movies ever made. But now with this one, you can see that it's pretty safe for them to work on kind of one production and another one at the same time. So the third one will come out in a period of time not as long as the space between 2018 and 2023. It'll probably come out maybe 24, 25, but who knows. Anyway, I was excited to see where the story's going to go. It's very unconventional for a superhero movie. There's a lot of references in it too. There's a reference to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in a few exposition scenes where they're in a few pictures. There was this live action character. I keep on forgetting the name of it. I think he was in a previous Marvel movie, but I don't remember what. Maybe someone in the comments can let me know. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I would give it an 8 out of 10. It was excellent. I highly recommend that you go see it, even though I just spoiled everything in this review, though it is a spoiler review. But anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.